It all happened on the track yesterday during practice with this moment right here. Brad Keselowski in the 2. That's William Byron in the 24. Again, this was during a practice session. Here's another look at it. So what was said yesterday after this on the track? Brad Keselowski thought William Byron was blocking. He said, I'm not going to have it. Here is what Brad Keselowski had to say. Again, this was yesterday, followed by fresh comments today.
I had a big run, and it put me in a position where I had to lift, and I keep telling these guys I'm not lifting. So hate it for his team and that they got to work on their car, and so did ours. But just trying to send a message, I'm not lifting.
So it was, as a veteran move, time for you to send a message, you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm tired of getting wrecked at the play tracks. I've been wrecked out of 4 out of these last 5 races, quite honestly, because I let people pull moves like that on me. So they're all watching, they know. To be really good at plate racing, you need to get pushes from cars behind you. And the car behind you cannot see what the car in front of you does. So if you have to lift for that car in front of you, the car behind you is not going to know, and he's going to wreck you. That's how this racing works. So if that's the case and you're the first car of the 3, then you better make for damn sure that when you pull that move and you're asking that guy to take contact, that you can hold on to it.
Watched it a couple times, and I mean, I just feel like it was unnecessary still. I talked to Brad and got his opinion, and I really appreciate him talking to me because that helped kind of just understand where he was coming from, but I still feel like it was unnecessary for practice.
Where's he coming from? Did you ask to talk to him?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to him because I felt like, he probably didn't expect me to talk to him, and I need to talk to him about things like that, and need to hear where he's coming from so I don't draw my own conclusion, which probably isn't going to be a good one. So yeah, I think it's important. Guys don't talk enough to people nowadays, and we need to handle things like that.
Okay, let's start with that. And again, William Byron's comments were just a couple of hours ago, so that was in the media center here today. What do you think about the 21-year-old? It sounded like being the one to sort of reach out and go and talk to Brad.
Very mature of him,
yes.
And I think we've kind of expected that from William Byron, but I appreciate him reaching out, and it was good that Brad was willing to talk to him and that they could somewhat iron things out. It still sounds like they have a different opinion, but that's 2 race drivers looking at things completely different in the way that everything happened. And Brad has sent his message, but I'm really glad that they did do that. I think, as William said there, too many times that gets lost, and how important that really is.
Yeah, and I think that's the big deal that I took away from what William said was, he felt the need to reach out to try to understand the other side. He has his side. He just wants to try to understand. He still thinks it's uncalled for.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. He still thinks it's uncalled for. But that shows great maturity. Both these guys are champion drivers. One in the Cup, one Xfinity. They're championship drivers. And I think that these guys should show each other that respect. And I think by William reaching out, that shows that he does respect Brad, but he wants to know how I fit into your game plan.
Well, and where is this all? I mean, Brad talked about where this is all coming from in terms of past races here at Daytona.
Yeah, and Brad is used to running up front and being able to kind of control things and the way that things happen. And over the last few races here, as he said, 4 out of 5, that hasn't happened that way. He's got run into from behind. He's got turned into accidents. And when you get in situations like that, you start looking at why am I in this situation? What can I do to prevent this from happening? He may, in my opinion, have gone a little to the extreme on the other side of it, saying, hey, guys, I'm not lifting. This is what you got to deal with. But everybody knows what they've got now with Brad and the way that he's going to race there, and that's his prerogative to do things how he sees. I think I personally agree with William in that may have been a little uncalled for yesterday. I didn't really see a block. But again, I'll say this, that what we see in the way that we see it from different camera angles, it looks totally different behind the wheel of a race car going 200 miles per hour.
Yeah, DJ had a great point earlier. I was watching you, and like he said, we sat here at the desk. It's totally different sitting in those cars. Totally different. And it's hard to second guess those guys or what their intent was or where they were at. At the same time, just the camera angles and the evidence that we have, I have to side with William Byron a little bit on this. We showed an accident that happened last year. That was in the middle of a race, or towards the end of the race. Really, we're going for the trophy at that point. This is at the end of a practice. It's totally different how you approach it. And Brad's words don't really sometimes line up with what we're seeing here on the screen. There's not a lane to the inside. He's not down on the yellow line. There was some momentum there, don't get me wrong, but Brad says, if I look in the mirror and the guy behind me can't see the car in front of me, we've got to run through that. No, you don't. There's a responsibility for you to see that run coming, to know you're at the end of the road, and wave your hand, slow some stuff down. You have a responsibility behind that wheel also, not to just run in the corner. Basically, his words said, if I get a run, I'm going to run over somebody. That's basically what he said at the end of that practice. I don't believe that's what Brad meant. I think that was frustration, the heat of the moment. He just is tired of being cut off and being put in that position.
Hey Motorsports fans, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe before you go for all the latest news and highlights across motorsports.